Alright, so what is your definition of retirement? I saw an article recently about a man, I think an old man lived in London. He said he wanted to work in a kitchen and he was working there because otherwise he would die. He would die from boredom. And he was retired. So it got me thinking. I wrote a blog article about it as well. The link to the blog is below. And it got me thinking about what is your definition of retirement? I used to think that retirement was down to having your income, your passive income especially, exceeding your expenses unless you had free time. That was a very financial way of looking at it. And after speaking to one of my mentors a few weeks ago, a new way of looking at it is now retirement is as a result of your finances making you financially free through not having to work and paying for your expenses. Retirement is to do what you want to do rather than what you have to do. A lot of people really rely on the government to pay for their retirement and pay for their pension. It's about control. I don't recommend that because the way the system has been built, it was built 100 years ago with a different life expectancy and a different medical world. They were expecting people to retire at 65 or 55 or to live for 5 years and die. Now people are retiring at age 65 and 70, and that's only going to go up as well. And people are living much longer lives as well, so they're living off the government program, the pension system, much longer as well. So the government have what is called, the British government, and well, loads of others, have what are called unfunded liabilities, meaning that the government pays the bond holders, the debt holders, the interest first, before they're likely to pay for the welfare or the programs, like the pensions and things like that. It's about control. As soon as you start playing the financial system in which we live, and you start playing by the capitalist rules, then you can start creating assets and businesses, or buying stocks and other things like that, and monetizing your knowledge and your human capital, and that's an asset that creates passive cash flow. And I say understand and play the system because that's the world we were born into. If we were born in 500 years ago in feudal England, then capital allocations, risk reward ratios, inflation and productivity wouldn't really matter so much. What our priorities would be is how can we get more wheat from the ground? How can we survive the winter? And why is the Lord going to war again? Essentially, we'll be serfs. So if you understand that system, you play by their rules to get the best out of the situation. Whereas if because we're born today, 21st century, Western Hemisphere, so on and so forth, in a capitalist world, understand how capitalism works, understand how the system works, and use it for your advantage. Use it for your advantage and take control of your own destiny, take control of your own finances. So when it comes to, I want to retire, you can retire much easier, much quicker, and by your own efforts, as opposed to relying on the government. And as soon as you take control, it's so much more better, it's so much more empowering than relying on the government and relying on someone else and relying on bureaucrats to give you a livelihood. If you rely on yourself and take control of your own finances and take control of your own future, take control of your own destiny, it's so much more empowering. And people also talk about how they want a guaranteed income so they can then pursue the arts and do what they're good at, and with that freed up time they can do their own thing. You're then kind of going into business and entrepreneurship. You see, having an income is fine, but then when you start to do what you love, it could be art, or it could be acting, or theatre, or writing. That's fine. Then there's two other rules you've got to consider, because at that point you're kind of going into the realms of freelancing and entrepreneurship. You kind of got to consider your knowledge, marketing, business, and knowledge of the world, how it works. If you're an actor, how to get in front of the big stage. If you're an author, how to get your stuff online, how to get into the marketplace. Your knowledge, your talents, your capabilities, understanding what works, what doesn't work, knowledge. And the other one is your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is essentially your self-belief. Your what you're confident at, what you know you can do, what you know you can't do, and what you're willing to do. Because there's no point in having guaranteed income, essentially relying on someone else to pay for your bills, than to say I'm going to go into arts, but then not knowing how to perform well in arts. Because see, there's also two other rules as well to consider. You've got to be happy and competent with what you're doing. Because if you're not happy and competent with being an artist with your free time, then you'll be unhappy. You want to do something else. And if you're not competent at it, you'll struggle because you want to build on your strengths. So retirement is a very powerful way, very powerful tool. It's a very much a goal for everyone, arguably. But you need to have a better definition of it. Have control of your own finances so you can do what you want to do once you retire, and not have to rely on someone else. Because as soon as you understand the world and you have the knowledge about how these things work, markets, and what you can do and what you can't do, no matter what the government does, no matter what the wider market does, it crashes or recession or whatever, or booms or busts, you can make money and you won't panic. You won't be so scared because you know what you can do. You know where the money is. You know how to create money. You know how to do things. As soon as you can understand that and take control and really use the system that we live in, your retirement will be oh so much sweeter. It won't be like this old man that I saw where he's retired and he doesn't want to die of boredom. He doesn't want to die of boredom in a world where information and knowledge is all around us. Google, blogs, YouTube, even places like Coursera and Khan Academy, where you can get a university standard or level education for free. And there's tools out there where you can write a book, any kind of book, colouring books, word books, story, or even memoirs, and get it online for free. Suddenly you become relevant and important just by doing a little bit of knowledge and exploring this world, and you could suddenly have much more fun, creative, and enticing things to do in your retirement, as opposed to being bored and hoping someone else will give you a job to peel carrots in a kitchen. Nothing inherently wrong with that. If the guy's happy and competent, nothing wrong with that. But it's like there's a steak dinner over there. You got to go through the doorway, or there's fish and chips right there. With a little bit of effort, you can get so much bigger reward, so much bigger result. There's a test actually done, I can't remember when, I think in the 90s. It was called the marshmallow test. So you might recognise this, where they had these children in a room, and they gave them one marshmallow, and they said, you can either have the marshmallow now, or if you wait 15 minutes, you can get another 2 marshmallows. And the ones that waited the 15 minutes, they had delayed gratification, who then got, in total, in absolute terms, 3 marshmallows, more nicer reward by waiting. They did, 10 or so years later, they did like 80% better than the people who didn't wait and who ate the marshmallow now. And they were much more self-reliant, or I can't remember exactly. It's worth looking up. Just Google marshmallow test. I'm confident you'll find it. It's about self-control and reliance and things like that. Because as soon as you understand who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, you can then be able to create, through opportunity and through understanding the world around us, you can be able to create a system which you can profit from. What I call doing the work once and getting paid forever. If you understand what your strengths are, you can build a much more comfortable life, much more comfortable than previous generations have, or people who are relying on government programs to fund their retirement. Fund your own retirement. Find your own strengths, fund your own retirement, and build assets. Become a key person of influence, an influencer, what people in the marketing world would call it. Just learn. Knowledge and comfort zone. The more stuff you learn, you then start to be more confident in general. And start small. Start small and do small things and fail small. Not too big of a risk or too much of a problem. Start small, and then sooner or later you will get to the point where your assets from your activity can fund your retirement. You ain't got to worry about you dying of boredom. You can do what you want. You can do what you want in your free time. If you don't enjoy what you do in your free time, just do something else. But you ain't got to worry about money. You ain't got to worry about the government or the marketplace or the changing of rules or regulations, because you're funding your own. You're controlling your own destiny. Being your own person. That's what got me thinking. And I wrote a bit of this stuff in the blog. So check out the blog below. If you haven't already, subscribe. Way more stuff to come. Subscribe if you haven't already. more and more stuff to come. How cool is that?